Hey guys, Duelist here. I just wanted to go over a card that I think more people should be considering, especially for their trap heavy decks. And that card is the Showdown of the Secret Sense Scroll Techniques. This card is a countertrap and reads, when your opponent activates a spell or trap card or monster effect when the same name as a card in their graveyard, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. This means that if your opponent activates any card effect in their graveyard, you can negate it with no cost with this card as a counter trap, so your opponent cannot respond to it. Also, as the game goes on and more cards get into their graveyard, you can negate their spells, their traps, anything that they do, hand traps, things like that, as long as there's already a card in the graveyard. So if you think about it in the current metagame, it automatically stops any Drytron effect that activates in the graveyard or Drytron card on the field or hand that activates if they already have a Drytron in the graveyard. It already stops anything, even if it's their first turn and the only card they have is like an Alpha Thuban in the graveyard. If they activate that Alpha Thuban in the graveyard, you can negate it with this Showdown of the Secret Sense Scroll Techniques. It's just overall a very strong card with no cost compared to things like Solemn Strike or Judgment or anything else. And like I said, it's a counter trap that can't be responded to unless they respond to it with a counter trap. As another example, Tri-Brigades will have plenty of monsters in the graveyard that they send there or do things with like Fractal or Nerval. This automatically can negate them when they send themselves to the graveyard or otherwise use their effects in the graveyard. And the ones on field, say they summon a Karas and they banish a Fractal and a Nerval for effect to bring out a Link 2. If they already have a Karas in graveyard, you can negate that effect. Same thing as if they've already used a Revolt and they have a Revolt engrave and they try to use another one, you can negate that with this card. It just has so many applications, and while it can be a little weird to use in some situations, it affects almost every single deck in the current meta, so I think it's a really strong card that most people should at least consider for their trap decks. I'm talking things like kind of the trap Shaddoll, trap BA sort of decks where they already run a bunch of counter traps, things like that. I feel like it would fit in perfectly. I just haven't seen anyone even considering it, and I think it's a wonderful card. Check it out, test it in your own builds, and let me know what you think. Please leave a comment below if you've got anything to say about it. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Also, please leave a like and subscribe for more content like this.